Happy birthday, Jace Hubbard. Happy birthday to you. Yes, this duel analysis is a birthday gift requested by my good friend Jace Hubbard. Please wish him a happy birthday in the comments, and maybe check out his channel if you haven't before. Oh, and Nick Stevens' channel too, since this is his original video that I'm going to be analyzing. Links are in the description, and now let's get on with what you clicked on the video for. Omar versus Onomatopoeia. Two champions clashing head to head. One who won an official regional tournament, and one who became the best duelist on Dueling Network, or Dueling Book for newer players. And on top of that, neither player has lost a duel before. Well, Omar has, but those times were due to connections being conveniently lost, so we never lost in a clean duel before.
But anyway, on with the plot.
Onomatopoeia and her celebrity friend Shaki are celebrating the end of a format. Omar then walks up to check out the nice view, and maybe check out the city overlook as well. He tells Onomatopoeia that he surpassed her on Dueling Network and is retiring as the highest rated player. But Onomatopoeia says,
"No, you ain't!"
and challenges Omar to one last duel. Omar accepts the challenge, and the two take their stances. A bit dickish to drag a man out of retirement just so you can handle the loss? Yes, but it's also far from the worst thing Onomatopoeia's ever done. Check out Death by Herpes if you want to see Onomatopoeia at her absolute worst. But this is a duel analysis, not FUDW. So, with all this setup out of the way, let's quit our stalling and get brawling. The duel begins and Omar goes first. He draws, and his opening hand consists of Cards of Consonance, Tempest, Dragon Ruler of Storms, Vanity's Emptiness, Redox, Dragon Ruler of Boulders, Sacred Sword of 7 Stars, and Blaster, Dragon Ruler of Infernos. He begins by activating Sacred Sword. Now by banishing level 7 monster from his hand or field, he can draw 2 cards. He banishes Blaster and draws 2 cards, which are Flame Guard and Sixth Sense. Also, because Blaster was banished, its third effect activates, meaning Omar can add a Fire Attribute Dragon-type monster from his deck to his hand. He adds another Blaster. Next, he activates Cards of Consonance. By discarding one Dragon-type tuner monster with 1000 or less attack points, he can draw 2 more cards. He discards the 100 attack Flame Guard and draws Draguni Corsica and Dragon Ravine. To follow that up, Omar activates the field spell card Dragon Ravine. Now, by discarding one card from his hand to the graveyard, he can send one Dragon-type monster from his deck to the graveyard. He discards his second Blaster to mill Trigon. Now, Tempest's first effect from his hand. By discarding it another wind monster, Draguni Corsica, he can add one Dragon-type monster from his deck to his hand. He adds Debris Dragon. Omar then normal summons Debris Dragons, which revives a monster with 500 attack or less from his graveyard, with his effect negate, and he revives the 500 attack Trigon. Now, the level 4 Debris Dragon tunes the level 3 Trigon to synchro summon the level 7 Priorata Ancient Fairy Dragon in attack mode. He then uses Fairy's second effect, drawing Dragon Ravine to gain 1000 life points. He can add another Dragon Ravine from his deck to his hand, but can only use that effect once per turn. He then activates his new Dragon Ravine, and because Ravine isn't a hard once per turn, he uses its effect again, discarding Redox to send Tidal, Dragon Ruler of Waterfalls. Omar then uses Redox's second effect. By banishing 2 Earth Attribute and or Dragon-type monsters from his hand or graveyard, he can special summon it. So he banishes Tidal and Debris Dragon to special summon itself from his grave. Tidal's third effect activates. Since it was banished, Omar can add one water attributed Dragon-type monster from his deck to his hand. He adds a second Tidal. He then overlays his level 7 Redox and Ancient Fairy Dragon to Exceed summon rank 7 Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosac in attack mode. Next, Omar activates Dracosac's effect, detaching one Exceed material, Redox, to special summon 2 Mecha Phantom Beast tokens in defense mode. These tokens are level 3 Wind Attribute Machine monsters with 0 attack and defense. Last but not least, Omar sets Vanity's Emptiness and Sixth Sense face down before ending his turn. It's Onomatopoeia's turn. She draws, and her opening hand consists of Allure of Darkness, Blackwing Zephyros the Elite, Anti-Spell Fragrance, Harpy Queen, Hysteric Sign, and Harpy Dancer. She starts by activating Harpy Queen's effect, discarding it to add Harpy's Hunting Ground from her deck to her hand. Next she uses Allure of Darkness. Now she can draw 2 cards from her deck, but must banish one Dark Attribute monster from her hand, or her whole hand will go to the graveyard. She draws Summon Limit and Magic Planter, then banishes Zephyros. Now she activates her field spell, Harpy's Hunting Ground.
which gives all winged beast monsters an extra 200 attack and defense points. And because this is Master Rule 2, only one field spell can be faced up at a time, so Omar's field spell is destroyed to make way for Onomatopoeias.
Then, she normal summons Harpy Dancer, and because a Harpy monster was summoned, Harpy's Hunting Ground's second effect activates, which destroys any spell or trap in the field. She targets and destroys Omar's Vanity's Emptiness. After that, she activates Hysteric Sign, letting her add Elegant Egotist from her deck to her hand. She then activates Elegant Egotist. Because she controls a Harpy Lady, which almost every Harpy monster is treated as, she can special summon another Harpy Lady or Harpy Lady sisters from her deck. So out comes Cyber Harpy Lady in attack mode. Harpy's Hunting Ground goes off again and she targets 6 cents. Omar chains though, activating 6 cents. Now Omar declares 2 numbers between 1 and 6. Then Onomatopoeia rolls a 6-sided dice. If it lands on one of the numbers that Omar declared, he can draw that many cards, but if it lands on any other number, Omar must send that many cards from the top of his deck to the graveyard. Omar declares 5 and 6. Onomatopoeia scoffs at that happening, and then rolls a 6. So Omar draws 6 cards, which are a second copy of Cards of Constance, Mirror Force, a second Sacred Sword, Card Trooper, Bottomless Trap Hole, and Gold Sarcophagus. 6 cents. What on earth were they thinking? Well, I know what they were thinking. Royal Fate is too broken to be brought up directly from the anime, so let's make a trap card version of it and give it a chance to fail. That'll make it fair. It was limited the same day it was released in the TCG, and banned in the next format. They knew they printed crack, they just wanted to cook for a little while they took all of your money from Joey's World and ran. What's funny is that some people still want Royal Fate printed IRL. I even had a buddy who thought the card was perfectly fair and balanced because you might roll 1. Some people, am I right? Anyway, that's enough of a break. Back to the duel. Onomatopoeia enters her battle phase and has both her Harpies attack and destroy Omar's tokens. Main phase 2, she overlays both her Harpies to XC summon Lightning Chidori. She activates this effect, detaching Dancer to return Dracosack back to Omar's extra deck. Finally, she sets Magic Planter, Anti-Spell Fragrance, and Summon Limit face down, and ends her turn. It's Omar's turn. He draws and gets a second Tempest. But after he finishes drawing, Onomatopoeia activates her continuous trap card, Anti-Spell Fragrance. Now, both players must set spell cards before they can be activated, and neither player can activate spell cards on the turn that they are set. Omar says nothing, but you know he was thinking,
Ah, dick.
He normal summons Card Trooper. He activates this effect, milling 3 cards, and it gains 500 attack points for each card milled. He mills Maxi, Mystical Space Typhoon, and Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. Next, he uses Tyler's first effect. He can banish 2 Water Attribute and or Dragon-type monsters from his hand or grave to special summon it. He banishes Redox and Tempest from his grave, and special summons Tidal in attack mode. Now, Tempest and Redox's third effects activate. So, in reverse chain order, for an Earth Dragon monster, he searches a second Redox, and for a Wind Dragon, he searches a second Debris Dragon. He then uses Blaster's first effect from his graveyard, banishing 2 Fire and or Dragon monsters from his graveyard to special summon it. He banishes Ancient Fairy Dragon and Garduni Corseska. However, Onomatopoeia chains, activating her set summon limit. Now, neither player can summon more than 2 times per turn. And since Omar already summoned Card Trooper and Tidal, Blaster will remain in the graveyard. And yes, that move was legal, as banishing the dragons was paying the cost to summon the monster. And because summon limit affects the summoning of a monster, summon limit could be activated. Omar enters his battle phase and orders Tidal to attack Lightning Chidori. Chidori is destroyed and Onomatopoeia takes 700 damage. Card Trooper then attacks directly, dealing 1900 more points of damage. Omar then sets Sacred Sword, Consonance, Bottomless Trap Hole, Mirror Force, and Gold Sarcophagus face down, and ends his turn, so Card Trooper's attack points return to normal. It's Onomatopoeia's turn. She draws and gets Harpy Queen. She starts by activating her set spell card, Magic Planter. By sending a face-up continuous trap card she controls to the grave, she can draw 2 cards. She sends Anti-Spell Fragrance, then draws Swallow's Nest and a second Magic Planter. Next, she activates her second Magic Planter, sending Summon Limit to the graveyard to draw Effect Veiler and Windrose, the Elemental Lord. She then normal summons Harpy Queen. Harpy's Hunting Ground goes off, and she targets her own Hysteric Sign. Omar chains, activating Bottomless Trap Hole to try and banish Harpy Queen. Onomatopoeia chains though with a quick play spell card Swallow's Nest. by attributing her face-up Winged Beast monster to special a new Winged Beast monster from her deck with a different name. She summons Sacred Crane in attack mode, so Sign is destroyed and Bottomless loses its target. Now Sacred Crane's effect activates. Since it was special summoned, Onomatopoeia can draw one card. She gets Hysteric Party.
And now I'll use Harpy's Feather Duster. Oh, I'm just teasing. I would if I could.
6 years and 9 months later, she can! But for now, she'll have to sew for the next best thing. Because there are exactly 5 wind attribute monsters in her graveyard, she can special summon Windrose, the Elemental Lord, in attack mode. Nobody told Gyro, though.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that!
Its effect activates. Since it was special summoned, all of Omar's spell and trap cards are destroyed. Onomatopoeia enters her battle phase and has Windrose attack and destroy title. Omar takes 400 damage. The Sacred Crane then attacks Card Trooper. It's destroyed.
And Omar takes 1400 damage.
But because Card Trooper was destroyed in battle, Omar can draw one card and he gets Swing of Memories. Finally, she sets Hysteric Party face down and it's her turn. And since she did, Hysteric Sign's second effect activates. Since it was destroyed while face up in the field, she can add 3 Harpy cards with different names from her deck to her hand. She adds Harpy Channeler, Harpy Queen, and Harpy Lady Phoenix for Mage. Now, is it a misplay that Omar set all of his spells and traps face down on his turn? I don't think so, quite frankly, because he couldn't know that Onomatopoeia would summon Windrose. I mean, great that she's got a friggin' field spell that's a walking MST, but as far as he knows, she can only destroy one card at a time, which means that some of his cards gotta survive, right? And Harpy's Feather Duster is still banned at this time, so there's no way she's gonna wipe out all of his field, unless she summons an Elemental Lord, which she did, so yeah. He should have saved those cards, but he couldn't know that Onomatopoeia was going to destroy her own anti-spell fragments. That requires psychic powers. Would he have won if he didn't set all his cards? Maybe, but again, hindsight is required. Anyway, it's Omar's turn. He draws and gets a 3rd title. He normal summons the Breeze Dragon, then activates its effect. Targeting Card Trooper, Onomatopoeia changes its effect failure. By discarding it, the Breeze Dragon's effect is negated until the end of the turn, so the breeze fizzles. Plan B. Omar uses Title's first effect. By banishing Blaster and Tempest from his graveyard, he can special summon it. Blaster fetches a 3rd Blaster, and Tempest fetches a 3rd Tempest. Next, he uses Redox's effect. By banishing the Earth attribute Card Trooper and Max C, he can special summon it. Then he activates Swing of Memories, letting him special summon a normal monster from his graveyard, but it's destroyed at the end phase. He revives the tuner monster Flambeau Guard. Now he tunes a level 7 Redox from a level 1 Flambeau Guard to synchro summon the level 8 Crimson Blader! Next, level 4 Debris Dragon tunes level 7 Title to synchro summon level 11 Star Eater! He has Star Eater attack and destroy Windrose. Onomatopoeia takes Sparks damage, and because Windrose was destroyed, she can't attack on her next turn. Crimson Blader then attacks and destroys Sacred Crane, dealing another 1000 points of damage to her. And because Crimson Blade destroy a monster in battle and send it to the graveyard, Onomatopoeia cannot special summon any level 5 or higher monsters on her next turn. Omar ends his turn, and during the end phase, Onomatopoeia activates her set Hysteric Party. By discarding one card, Harpy Channeler, she can special summon as many Harpy monsters from her graveyard as possible. She summons 2 Queens, Dancer, Cyber, and the Channeler she just discarded, all in defense mode. Harpy's Hunting Ground effect activates and destroys itself. Can we all just take a second to acknowledge how broken some of the Harpy cards are? They have their own soul charge for the cost of a discard, an MST every time they summon, though that's mandatory, and a spell that searches 3 of their own cards upon its destruction. I'm not saying Harpies are broken, I'm just saying some archetypes would kill for support like this. It's Onomatopoeia's turn. She draws and gets Pot of Dichotomy. Since she can't attack this turn anyway, she activates her Pot of Dichotomy.
By returning 3 monsters with different types from her graveyard to her deck.
She can draw 2 cards. She returns the Winged Beast Sacred Crane, Spellcaster Effect Failure, and Thunder-type Lightning Chidori, and then draws Trap Stun and Max C. Next, she activates Harpy Lady Phoenix Formation. Because she controls 3 or more Harpies, she can destroy an equal or lower number of monsters Omar controls, then inflict damage to equal to the strongest monster's attack points. She destroys both of Omar's synchros, and Omar takes 3,200 damage. She then activates Harpy Dancer's effect, then can return Harpy Channeler to her hand. She could normal summon a new one as well, but that part of the effect is optional, and she chooses not to. Finally, she sets Trap Stun face down, and ends her turn. Now, is the misplay that Onomatopoeia didn't start spamming the field like Z's since the field was wide open? No, because Phoenix Formation's last effect means she can't spell someone for the rest of the turn, but she uses that effect. So she wouldn't be able to spam rank 4s or use Dancer to return itself.
Then use Channeler's effect to make a rank 7, then 4.
If you're wondering why I haven't been commenting on misplays, I can't really find any. Extenders are the master of scripting duels, and while yes, misplays exist in the series, you have to look really hard for them. Say what you will about how he likes scripted characters and stuff like that, you have the right to your opinion, and I may agree with some, but duel-wise, the man was always on points. Like, seriously, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, sorry. Back to the duel. It's Omar's turn. He draws and gets a third Sacred Sword of 7 stars. He activates it, banishing Tempest to draw 2 cards, which are Phoenix Wing Wind Blast and Swift Scarecrow. Tempest's third effect activates, fetching him another Draguni Corseska. Now he uses Blaster's first effect, banishing the Fire Attribute Crimson Blader and the Dragon-type Star Eater. Onomatopoeia Chains with Max C's effect, discarding it so every time Omar special summons, she can draw 1 card. Blaster special summon, so Onomatopoeia draws and gets a second Harpy's Hunting Ground. He then normal summons Corseska. He then has level 1 Corseska tune the level 7 Blaster to synchro summon level 8 Scrap Dragon. Onomatopoeia draws and gets Sacred Crane. Omar sets Wind Blast face down, then uses Scrap Dragon's effect. By destroying a card he controls, he can destroy a card in the opponent's field. He destroys Wind Blast, then targets Hysteric Party. And if Party destroyed, all of the Harpies Onomatopoeia controls go with it. Onomatopoeia Chains, activating her set Trap Stun,
which negates the effects of all other trap cards for this turn.
So Wind Blast and Party are destroyed, but the Harpies don't go with it. And just to be clear, no, the Harpies being summoned effect wasn't negated by Trap Stun, because that effect had already resolved. It's not a continuous effect. Battle Phase. Scrap Dragon attacks and destroys a Harpy Queen. Omar ends his turn. It's Onomatopoeia's turn. She draws
And gets a second Hysteric sign.
She begins by normal summoning Harpy Channeler. She activates the effect. Hard once per turn. By discarding 1 Harpy card, in this case Queen, she can special summon 1 Harpy monster from her deck, except another Channeler. She special summons Harpy's Pet Dragon. And since Channeler is treated as a level 7 monster while its owner controls a dragon, Onomatopoeia overlays her level 7 Channeler and Dragon to Xyz summon number 11, Big Eye! She activates this effect. The attaching Xyz material will say it's Channeler, so she can take control of Scrap Dragon permanently, though Big Eye can no longer attack this turn. She switches her Harpies to attack mode, then attempts to go for games, attacking Omar directly with everyone but Big Eye. However, Omar chains, activating Swift Scarecrow's effect from his hand. Since he's being attacked directly, Omar can discard this card to end the battle phase.
And canceling Onomatopoeia's attacks.
Onomatopoeia is fine with that though, because that means the gloves come off. She overlays her 3 Harpies to Xyz summon
Harpy's Pet Phantasmal Dragon.
She wishes Omar luck with dealing with it, then ends her turn, and during her end phase, she has to detach material from Phantasmal, so she detaches Harpy Queen. And this is where I bring up a minor misplay, because Onomatopoeia could have activated Hysteric Sign to fetch another Elegant Egotist. Because even if she only had 1 copy in her deck, Sign can still get a copy from the grave as well. Now granted, you could say she was saving this card for later in case she thought she would need it, or maybe she thought she'd already won, so why overextend?
And I agree.
But she could have activated Sign, not used the Egotist because she already had all 5 monsters Post Channeler summoned, and Big Eye stealing Scrap Dragon. After that, she has no more Harpies in the field and can't activate Egotist. I've done too much explaining. The point is, she could have activated Sign, fetch Egotist, do her combo, and then on the next turn, activate Hunting Ground, summon a Harpy,
Hunting Ground destroys Sign, then at the end of the turn,
search 3 more Harpy cards. But Masako! Wait, wrong channel. But James! She doesn't know if she'll last that long. And should she really be thinking about how to win more? And you're absolutely correct. This is at most a nitpick and wouldn't really change the entire duel. I'm just reaching for something to complain about here, because otherwise, this isn't an analysis. It's a synopsis.
Also, yes, she could have activated Egotist at the start of her turn when she only had 3 monsters on field, but I personally think it would be a waste to special summon a Heartbeat Channeler from the deck when she already has one in her hand. Just seems like a waste of resources in my personal opinion.
Also, she could have discarded her field spell instead of Queen for Chandler's effect. That way she could still have an archetype monster in her hand in case things go south. So yeah, that's another potential misplay, but not a massive one in my opinion. So yeah. Anyway, it's Omar's turn. He draws and gets a second Max C. He uses Blast effect from the graveyard, banishing Redox into Breeze Dragon from his grave to special summon it.
Redox searches his last Redox.
Next, Title's graveyard effect. He banishes Trigon and Flam Vigard to special summon it. He then overlays his level 7 dragons to exceed summon his own number 11, Big Eye! He then detaches a monster, Blaster, to take control of Onomatopoeia's Big Eye. Next, he uses her Big Eye's effect, attaching Pet Dragon, to take back his Scrap Dragon. Unfortunately for Omar though, Phantasmal cannot be targeted by card effects or for attacks as long as it has Exceeding Material. So Omar is forced to end his turn. It's Onomatopoeia's turn. She draws and gets a second Harpy Dancer. She enters her battle phase, and because Phantasmal has Exceeding Material, it can attack directly. It does so, and Omar takes 2,000 damage. Onomatopoeia ends her turn, so she detaches her first Dancer. It's Omar's turn. He draws and gets Return from the Different Dimension. He activates Redox's effect. He discards it, and the Earth attribute Max C to special summon any monster in his graveyard. And of all the monsters he chooses to revive Draguni Corseska. Man, this card would be his dual spirit if it could. Next, he uses Blaster's first effect, banishing Redox and Tile to special summon. No more searches though, because the Dragon Rulers are all hard once per turn, and Omar has no more Water Dragons to search. He then hits level 1 Corseska, tune his level 7 Blaster to Synchro Summon. Level 8, Hot Red Dragon Archfiend. He uses Hot's effect, destroying all other attack position monsters in the field. But Hot is the only monster that's allowed to attack this turn. And with Phantasmal gone, he attacks directly, dealing 3,000 points of damage and leaving Onomatopoeia with 1,200 life points left. Omar then sets Return from the Different Dimension face down and ends his turn. It's Onomatopoeia's turn. She draws and gets Upstart Goblin. She activates it, so Omar gains another 1,000 life points, but Onomatopoeia gets to draw one card, and she gets Exceeding Reborn. Then she normal summons Harpy Dancer. Then she activates Harpy's Hunting Ground. And now she activates Hysteric Sign to get Elegant Egotist. She activates it, and summons another Cyber Harpy from her deck. Harpy's Hunting Ground goes off and targets Omar's set card for destruction. Omar chains though, activate Return from the Different Dimension, paying half his life points to target as many of his removed from play monsters as possible.
Summoning all 4 Dragon Rulers, each in defense.
Onomatopoeia then overlays her Harpies to Xyz summon Rank 4 Ice Beast 05. She activates this effect, detaching material, we'll say Dancer, to negate the effects of all of Omar's cards, and then it gains 300 attack points for each other card in the field. There's 7, so it gains 2,100 extra attack points, plus an extra 200 from Hunting Ground, giving it a Grand Slam's total of 4,300 attack points. Zero Fine attacks Hot, knocking Omar down with 200 life points. Bet you're regretting activating that Upstart now, right? She sets Exceed Reborn face down, and ends her turn. Now normally the Dragon Rulers would return to Omar's hand during the opponent's end phase, but since their effects are negated, Omar has to banish them all instead due to Return's Backlash. And he can't add any more cards to his hand with their effects because he's out of targets. See, Zero Fine is probably why Onomatopoeia held on to Hysteric Sign, just for more power. But the thing is that those extra 300 attack points aren't really going to matter for how this duel ends, but she can't know that to be fair at the time. I'm still going to call it a misplay because searching 3 cards is far more useful than 300 extra attack points. Well, unless you're running Sparge, in which case I'm in the wrong. Regardless, it's Omar's turn, and the penultimate turn of the duel. He draws and gets Burial from a Different Dimension. He activates, returning 3 removed from play monsters to his graveyard. He returns Blaster, Redox, and Tempest. He then uses Tempest's graveyard effect, banishing Tile and Draguni Corseska to special summon it. Now he uses Redox's effect, banishing the Earth attribute Max C and Swift Scarecrow to special summon it. Finally, Blaster's graveyard effect, banishing Scrap Dragon and Hot Red Dragon Archfiend to special summon it. He then overlays Tempest and Redox to remake Dracosack. He then detaches Tempest to special summon its 2 tokens. He then uses Dracosack's other effect. By tributing one of the tokens, he can destroy one of Onomatopoeia's cards, which is the token, and Zero Final destroy. But Dracosack cannot attack this turn. That's fine though, because Omar still has Blaster, who he orders to attack Onomatopoeia directly, attempting to go for game! But Onomatopoeia reveals her trap card, Xyz Reborn. This revives any Xyz monster in her graveyard, and then this card becomes Xyz material for that monster. She revives Harpy's pet Phantasmal Dragon, and since it can't be attacked while it has material,
Omar cannot replay his attack and has no choice but to end his turn.
it's Onomatopoeia's turn, and the final turn of the duel. She draws, it doesn't even matter what she draws. But just for fun, let's say it's her own Tempest. She orders Phantasmal to attack directly, winning the duel and handing Omar his first loss not caused by disconnect. Right before his deck gets banned. Talk about kicking you when you're down, right? So could Omar have beaten Onomatopoeia? In my eyes, no. Onomatopoeia was in control of the entire duel, whether it was opening with 2 floodgates and the outs to said floodgates, or using the cards that take away her battle phase on a turn which she can't attack or summon high-level monsters anyway. Omar did have more overwhelming force, but Onomatopoeia always had the outs to said force.
And yes, she did start with 2 floodgates on her first turn, but to be fair, Omar had a floodgate in his opening hand too. One that would have shut her down if she didn't already have the field spell, so you can't really say Onomatopoeia only won because of the floodgates early on in the duel. Did they help? Yes, but that's obviously the point of a floodgate.
The only real time she was caught off guard is Sixth Sense and Hot Red Dragon Archbeat. But to be fair, one's a random chance card, and the other one's an extra deck card that you can't know that Omar has. If anything, I established she was holding back by not activating Hysteric Sign earlier. In fact, she could have won the whole duel earlier. If she had just not activated Upstart, but did everything else the same, Omar would only have 1,000 life points left. And Zero Fine attacking Hot Red Dragon Archbeam would deal 1,300 points of damage. Though, in the interest of fairness, she doesn't know that Omar's set card is returned, and as far as she knows, it's solemn. So she wants to take a chance and maybe draw that MST to blow away Omar's back row. Because if she summons her Harpy monster and Omar solemns it, Omar wins the duel. Also, Omar could just not activate return if he only has 2,000 life points left. He might feel like, that's too low, I'm just gonna not activate return, maybe save it for my turn or something. In which case, Zero Fine doesn't gain enough attack points to wipe Omar out. So, yeah. Plus, the Upstart gave her Xyz Reborn, which got her the win in the end anyway. So even if Upstart was a misplay, she just win 2 turns earlier. It's not really a massive mistake in the end. The only real opening Omar had is if he didn't set all of his cards face down at the beginning. But again, he didn't know that Onomatopoeia was immediately going to get rid of her floodgates. He can't know that. That wouldn't be fair. So, maybe in the hypothetical that he didn't set all of his cards face down, maybe he would have won the duel, but otherwise, yeah, no.
I even thought I found a scenario where Omar could win the duel 100%. See, on the turn that he summons Scrap Dragon, Onomatopoeia also activates Max C, and Omar backs out of the Max C challenge. But if he had just summoned Tidal 1 turn earlier than he originally did,
He actually could destroy 2 of Onomatopoeia's Harpy monsters, meaning she can't summon Harpy's pet Phantasmal Dragon because she's sorta Harpy Lady.
now yes, she could activate Hysteric Sign,
Fetch Elegant Egotist, activate the Egotist in order to summon the Harpy Lady needed in order to summon the Phantasmal. But what this means is that later in the duel, she can't summon Ice Beast Zero Flying because she doesn't have Elegant Egotist in her hand anymore.
But then I remembered she gets Xyz Reborn a turn early, which means as long as she doesn't Upstart Goblin, then Omar will only have 2,000 life points left. She'll win the duel with a direct attack. So, sorry for wasting your time, I guess. And let's be real here, while funny, it is very anticlimactic. The ending we got is far more entertaining and satisfying. But yeah, I'd still say that's Omar's best opportunity.
But what do you guys think? Did you notice any misplays that I missed? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to wish Jace a happy birthday, as well as check out his and X Steven's channel if you haven't already. You won't regret it. So thank you all for watching, have a good day, and a better tomorrow. Bye!